Okay, I guess we're talking about it. Yeah, I gotta get the video off with a sigh. This is one of those rare articles where we have an idea that's thrown into it that pisses off both the fan bases that are being targeted here. This is the article in question, published on thescore.com by Josh Wegman. Could a JT Miller, Damon Severson swap work for the Canucks and the Devils? Now, when this article was posted like 3 days ago or whatever it was, we had Canucks fans and we had Devils fans both looking at this piece and saying, hey, I don't want to do that. Why would we do that? Why would we do this, and why would we trade away this guy and get this other guy? And we had both fan bases getting ticked off at the idea that I was like, okay, we have to make a video about this. Come on, like, this is one of those things. Like, if you piss off both of the fan bases, that means your trade proposal is probably a good one. And, you know, I kind of read through the article, took a look at what Wegman was saying, talking about these two players, of course, JT Miller and Damon Severson, two guys that are in the title of the article and everything, but, like, I personally don't really like this idea, but I could see why this article was written. So, let's go over to both situations, both players, both teams, and why this idea was even brought up in the first place. So, JT Miller, Vancouver Canucks winger, 29 years old, 6'1", 218, left-handed guy, signed till the end of 2023, making $5.25 million a season. Great contract for the amount of points this guy gets. He had 99 points in 80 games last season, 32 goals, 67 assists, and he has been a pretty much point-per-game-ish player with the Vancouver Canucks ever since getting acquired in 2019. This is a player that is very, very good. And the contract is very great too. But when he gets his contract extension, maybe in the summer of 2023, maybe during the season in 2022-2023. This is a guy that is going to demand a boatload of money. He has never been as valuable as he is right now, and this is his one opportunity to most likely get paid in a contract that is going to last him for the rest of his life. Okay, no, not the contract itself, but like the money from the contract is going to pretty much set him up for the rest of his life. You get what I mean there, right? Vancouver is a team that might not have themselves a long-term projectable plan to be competitive if they have the money that JT Miller is going to want attached onto their salary cap. Plus the fact that JT Miller and the style that he plays, you could debate it doesn't really age well into the future. He does not play the same finesse, pristine type of mind play game that Henrik and Daniel used to play. He plays more of a power forward grinder-ish, digging it out of the corners, not really backing down from a physical altercation, Jamie Benn style of play. And so, heading into the long-term future, whether or not that's a 7 or an 8-year deal or whatever, JT Miller's projectability as to being able to perform at a 99-point caliber pace, the rest of that contract is not all too guaranteed. And so with the Vancouver Canucks, with their better pieces being younger, they might have themselves an opportunity to trade Miller away for stuff that really helps them into that long term, and that aligns more with the window of their opportunity when it comes to the primes of Pettersson and Hughes and Podkolzin and Besser, etc. Meanwhile, you go over to New Jersey and you talk about Damon Severson. Now, this is actually the second time we've made a video about Severson and the Canucks. The first one was a video about him and Ty Smith. Severson is 27 years old, 6'2", 205 as a right-handed defenseman. He, like Miller, is also expiring in 2022-2023. He's making $4.16 million a season. And if you're going to go out there and say that Severson is going to demand a reasonably beefy deal, I don't think I would disagree with that. The guy went out there and produced 46 points in 80 games last season, a career high for the guy, and he is a pretty underrated defenseman, all things considered. Sure, Severson is the butt end of a lot of New Jersey Devils fan memes and inside jokes. He's kind of like the guy that when he makes a mistake, it gets amplified tenfold because he makes a few mistakes sometimes, but at the end of the day, Severson is an offensively capable, bigger defenseman that did have his best season so far in his career this last year. he wasn't bad, and it's why this article on The Score is going over Severson and saying that, hey, he's actually pretty underrated. He is coming off a career year. He defends well, in large part due to his size. He averaged more time on ice than Dougie Hamilton last season, which says a lot about how much coaches trust him to handle tough minutes. But with the New Jersey Devils making that John Marino trade, they now have two guys that are signed to long-term deals on the right side, Dougie Hamilton and John Marino. Also, the fact that they drafted Simon Nemec second overall at the 2022 draft, it makes things all the more guaranteed that a Severson trade is more likely than not, because they're just not going to have the opportunity for this player heading into the long term. If you re-sign Severson and you give him, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, you're not going to play one of Severson or Marino on your third pairing. That's just not really the right way to manage a hockey team and your assets. And so this article goes out there and says that, hey, the New Jersey Devils have been linked to JT Miller. He's a guy that can help them out in the short term, and they can give him a lot of money if he wants it. And you have Damon Severson going over to Vancouver, a team that won't need to shell out $9-10 million AAV on Severson because he's not really a 99-point scorer like Miller is, and he's a right-handed defenseman that can help out a team that is weak on right-handed defense. This is the idea that is thrown around there, and the reaction from both of the fan bases is kind of polarizing, because you have a lot of New Jersey fans going out there and saying, hey, why in the heck are we going to acquire a guy like JT Miller? He is so old. He doesn't really fit with our timeline of success. Jack Hughes is only 21 years old. Like, why the heck do we need to get a 29-year-old when we have all these younger guys that are going to be growing and developing throughout the years? We don't need this immediate presence right here. And to that I say, okay, well, you guys were just going out there and trying to sign Johnny Gaudreau, and you missed out on that. JT Miller is in the same time frame of success. He's in his prime right now. I get he's a little bit older than Johnny is, but still, things aren't all too different on this side of the coin now, aren't they? We also have Vancouver Canucks fans going out there and saying, hey, wait a minute, Severson for Miller? That's it? Now, to be fair, the article does not go out there and just say, hey, Severson for Miller. It actually goes out there and proposes a few ideas here. The first one is Damon Severson and Shakir Mukhamadullin for JT Miller. There actually is an entire paragraph here. Let's read this one before the proposals come in. It would be logical for the Canucks to target a defensive prospect in this trade. Fortunately for them, the Devils are loaded with young blue line talent. Nemec and Luke Hughes, the 2021 4th overall pick, are likely untouchable. But Shakir Mukhamadullin, Riley Walsh, Kevin Ball, and Nikita Okhotyuk could all potentially be in play. Mukhamadullin, selected 20th overall in 2020, is considered the best of New Jersey's defensive prospects outside of Hughes and Nemec. He is 6'4", but skates really well for his size. The Canucks would be smart to persist for Mukhamadullin, but it's possible the Devils would hesitate to give him up. Ah, man, if it's Miller for Severson and Mukhamadullin, personally, I would be pretty disappointed with that type of return. I like Severson, and I think he's a good player, and I think he can be a lot better than the Canucks options that they have. And I like Mukhamadullin, sort of. I do think he's got a lot to work on before he becomes an NHL caliber defenseman, but like, Miller, for only these two, I don't like the value there. I really don't. Maybe I'm going out there and I'm underestimating just how good Damon Severson is, and I'm underestimating the eliteness of Shakir Mukhamadullin, but like, I don't think that's enough. Not at all. Here's proposal number 2, JT Miller for Severson, Ball, Boquist, and a second. Okay, that's just kind of like franchise mode. We're adding on more and more things until the team says yes. I don't really think that's a trade that Rutherford or Alvin would say yes to either. And then you have Severson, Ball, and Riley Walsh for JT Miller. Now, I like the quantity of defenseman prospects coming back, but like, this just doesn't move the needle either, so I don't really think that any of these trade proposals really work. Maybe I'm really overestimating JT Miller, but I mean, the guy had 99 points last season. This is a good player, and he's probably going to demand a lot. Maybe the Alex DeBrincat and Kevin Fiala trades skewed the market in terms of what these valuable forwards could actually get in trades, but for JT Miller, I'd expect a lot more than what this article is proposing. That's just kind of my own opinion here. Devils fans are going to crap all over this video because, oh, you're underestimating just how good this guy is, but like, I don't know. That's my immediate instinct. Talk to me in the comments on your thoughts about this trade idea and why you don't like it, because I think everybody doesn't like it, right? Devils fans, Canucks fans, y'all are saying on Twitter and on Reddit, on social media, that this is not a good idea. So tell me in the comments why or why not that is the case. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.